What's happened? I'm wearing a suit. Look at that, eh? Yes, the different Craig. No more Tamil writing in the background, just me in my suit. I've joined the establishment, I've decided. No, I've been actually filming with Jane today a little bit. I've filmed a little intro about the upcoming movie thing we're doing with the Spirit of Diana re-release. But afterwards, Jane and I decided to sit in the front room and record a little session about the seances we had. You know, I'm talking with Jane about what our feelings were with the Diana thing, about some of the questions that were raised. You know, was Diana pregnant, that type of thing? Did MI5 or MI6 have any involvement in a potential murder of her? You know, people have been saying on my video blog here, you know, in the comments, saying that, you know, there was a conspiracy and so forth, you know. So I thought we'd address some of those questions and see if what Jane has to say is the same as what I've been saying in my earlier videos that you've probably been watching if you follow me. So here we are, all nice and smart today, and you know, as soon as Jane gets involved, things change so much, you know. But anyway, I hope you enjoy our little chat that we have in a minute. And please do comment afterwards, because part of the interest in this is being able to interact with people, see what people think. You know, are me and Jane completely wrong with what we say? Did we really get a communication with Diana? You know, I mean, these are questions you might want to ask about. Put some comments in below. But here it goes. Me and Jane talking about Diana. I put some stuff on the blog. About the Diana seances we did, you know, right back in, when did we do it? 2003?
Oh, I think it's,
something.
Oh, I can't remember.
Long while back now, anyway.
Time goes so quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've talked about, you know, what we felt about the seances and what come through, and that it's going to be shown again on Vimeo. Right?
Yeah.
So, but people have been asking, you know, I mean, I said, that I didn't, that Diana said to me and said to you that the whole thing was an accident. That it was, you know, that there was no conspiracy involved. People question that.
Well, I think people always like to think of conspiracy, don't they? But it's been proven that car that poor Henry was driving had been in an accident about 2 or 3 times, I believe.
There were faults with the car.
So it was all put together, wasn't it?
And there were faults with him too, because he allegedly, I believe he was, I don't know if it was proven, but he was supposed to be drunk at the time he was driving it, wasn't he?
Well, we don't know, because, you know, in fairness, the man, I think, was on, how can I say, antidepressants, so he might not have been drunk.
I don't know. I mean, there's so much speculation, because people find it really, really hard when we say that what Diana, when I believe, and we did separate seances, didn't we? So I didn't know what you were going to say, you didn't know what I was going to say, and we compared it, and we kind of came up similar.
Well, it was a lot of pressure, because we knew that the press would be after us too, but we had to be in separate hotels. And I had to go first in a secret location. I never met anybody, and I can remember going in there and then sitting to be quiet, to meditate. And it wasn't until I actually went into the hall I suddenly realised there was all people set round the seance table. Yeah,
well, there we go. So it was, you know, so I didn't know what you were going to say, you didn't know what I was going to say. Yeah. We just tuned in and gave the information to the people that were sat with us and so forth. And and we both said, didn't we, that there was just a fateful accident. I mean, I felt Diana had told me that. I mean, I think we both gave enough evidence to prove that Diana was there. I mean, all I really wanted to do was to prove that Diana was there, you know, for the sake of the kids, really.
There's no way I would have personally done it if I knew it hadn't been true about the afterlife. Yeah. No way would I have done it.
So when people say, like, for example, people say, well, why didn't Diana tell us things about, like, for example, was she pregnant?
Well, once again, I've got to say it's people's speculation, isn't it?
Because apparently, I'm not sure, but they had the autopsy. I mean, I don't know the details about much of it, but I believe they had an autopsy afterwards, and they took her womb out or something like that.
I don't know about that, but I don't think for one moment she was.
You don't think she was pregnant?
Absolutely not.
No, not with Dodi. You were sleeping with each other. They were there for a long time.
I don't. I think that's sheer speculation.
And did she love Dodi?
I'm sure she loved Dodi, but it was Dr. Khan, wasn't it, that she loved? But I'm sure she did.
Because, I mean, when I went round that I went round Dodi's flat, didn't I? That's the cat. I went round.
Don't work with children.
I let the cat in and we'll
don't
carry
work
on.
with children or animals, and it's true. Come on, Boo. Come on.
So the cat. They ask. They want to know about these things. People do. So because if we're in touch with Diana, they want to know what did Dodi feel. You know. I mean, Dodi didn't come through on the seances, did he? Because I mean, we didn't.
Yeah, but people got to realise also that Al-Fayed lost a son as well, and I think what I've seen and what I felt, he treated her with respect. But a lot of people would say about Princess Diana that she would have married him to get back at the royal family. We don't know if that's true.
No. Well, she was a Muslim. That was one of the
she
worst
things.
She wasn't
a Muslim.
No, he was a Muslim. He was a Muslim. She might have become a Muslim.
I don't think
and that would have created major trouble.
I don't think so.
I mean, she was quite a maverick. She might have done all sorts of things. But I mean, so the questions they ask is, was it MI5 or MI6 that do it? Were MI5 or MI6 plotting to kill her? A lot of people say, was all... It was all set up.
I don't believe that for one moment. I think it was an accident that happened. And I'm a great believer, if it's your time, it doesn't matter if you're a king, queen, an ordinary person, that's your time.
Because the message I got was that, it was an unfortunate accident. And just looking at it logically, I don't know how you could possibly... When we went through the Alma Tunnel, we went through it about 6 times. Because I didn't really like that. No, I said on the other video, I didn't really want to do that bit. But they wanted us to do it. That's part of the show, that's television, isn't it? But... every time we went through, I mean, when I looked at it, I thought, there's no way you could deliberately, with that they talked about, and flashing light, didn't they? They said wrecking cause. You could never have set that up on a little tunnel. And they weren't going to go that way anyway. They randomly went that route.
No, it was generally an accident, and it was disastrous how it happened. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, we know the truth, because Princess Diana definitely came through us. And she was showing us...
that's what I got strongly.
And her last thoughts, because she's quite a spiritual person, I think her last thoughts was with, things going in slow motion and definitely thinking of her sons and that. And I think she was a beautiful soul, myself.
Yeah, well, she was. And I thought her father... I remember when we were going through the tunnel again, her last thoughts were for her children. Apparently she was in a lot of distress, trying to say things when they pulled her body out of the... car, and people speculate and say, was she trying to tell him about some plot or something like that?
No, I don't believe that.
I feel it was all to do with her children. Her last thoughts. What would your last thoughts be if you suddenly were in a car accident? You had a few seconds before you die. You think of your loved ones, don't you? You don't think about conspiracies. You don't think about loyalty.
It's your loved ones.
So people. I think it's all to do with the fact that people just cannot accept the fact that that a death can happen like that. Look at the people that come to see you with readings, and they're in denial, aren't they?
Yes.
They're in shock. They're in denial.
But isn't it a beautiful, beautiful thing that somebody comes through from the other side, because people can't get their head around the spirit world, and it's not till they actually experience things themselves they know it to be true. People can be as skeptical as they like. Non-believers, we're all going to go there, but actually if somebody come through and give you proof to people you've never met before and give you that information about anniversaries, what a person's been doing, people that you don't check out, it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's what we try to do as mediums, isn't it? And that's why we hate it when people do the opposite and do the fake stuff.
Come on, Boo.
Right? Do you know who killed Diana, Boo?
It wasn't you.
No.
No, I don't. I genuinely...
She wasn't killed then. It was an accident.
No, and when we actually saw things, and she said who came for her, because she was showing me 2 people that came for her. I don't know about what you saw, but no, it was lovely. And I believed when they were actually filming us doing that seance, they caught the auric field around.
Yeah, they had orbs all around
outside of my body. I need it. A blue light, and that she definitely was there.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff happening on that. So, the strange coincidences that happened on the way there. I mean, we had the driver of Wallace and Simpson, didn't we? Do you remember him? Do you remember that?
That's strange.
Wasn't that a weird coincidence?
Yeah.
And then one of the taxi drivers was driving as another one said something about he had information about the the car wasn't right, and that was before that was announced in the press. He was saying that the car had failures in it and it shouldn't be on the road.
Yeah. But what I found,
and they were covering that up. So there were obviously cover-ups.
Well, what I found,
MI5 were onto her, definitely.
Well,
because when I went to see, you remember when I first did that first reading before we had the whole Diana thing, and I went to see that woman in London with a colonic irrigation woman, right? She said that when Diana was there, that the MI5 were onto her the whole time. They were miking that very place. And she was scared to even talk to me.
Yeah, but it might have been for security and safety reasons. I don't feel for one moment that she's plotted to be killed. You've got to understand these people, aristocratic people and royalty, they've got to be protected because there's so many horrible things happening and people want to destroy them. I don't believe for one moment, because I feel, if you're living in the public eye, you're living in a goldfish bowl, and you've got people that don't leave you alone. The poor girl's being chased by photographers, couldn't do things with her children. You took them on a scheme. Well, she just wanted to be like a normal mother. Of course, you want a normal mother. We know that. But the girl just wanted her family life and her boys. And
but
just
she was
to
a
be
Cancerian,
yes.
highly strung person.
Well, wouldn't you be?
Very emotional person.
Well, wouldn't you be if people treated you wrong?
Someone that really loved their family. You think about Cancerian signs like, but they bottle up and explode, don't they?
Good
so
mother. She's a
brilliant.
Mother.
So she had all the good qualities of a Cancerian. But with all that energy, it can turn into that same sort of energy can almost turn into paranoia sometimes for people, can't it? Do you think Diana herself, because of all the pressures upon her, was herself at the point of almost paranoia? You think she had bulimia? She must have been near on nervous breakdown the whole time.
I think with Diana, a lot of it goes back to her childhood, like lots of people, and I feel emotional. Girl, she was a very good mother to her children, or she was just a girl that wanted to be happily married and loved her children.
So what more can we say from the seance? I mean, these questions that people
ask. It came
ask.
across a very caring person. She could reach out people with AIDS, that includes children, gay people and that. She wasn't afraid to show her love, to be touched.
When we were doing seances, I've described what I felt, because first of all, going those seances was really difficult. You're up against like a brick wall with everybody there, because they're all nervous, they're all on television, they're all scared to death to say anything they shouldn't say, right? Because they're all thinking about you've got, we had journalists and musicians and secretaries and people from the AIDS foundations or something. We didn't know that at the time, of course. But, so it was difficult at first. So you start linking into the people that are with you, and you start trying to first of all, sort of give them who they are and what a bit about them, not working on a psychic level until the flow gets going. Then I felt Diana close to me. For a moment, I could feel all her feelings.
Don't forget.
All her thoughts at the end.
Yeah.
All her thoughts.
Don't forget, we were tested before we went round doing the seance each. They put a plant in that somebody that never knew her. And immediately, this is how it worked for me.
Was that the first link?
Yeah. Immediately when I went in, there was a beautiful, striking girl, and I held her hand. I said, "I'm sorry, my darling, I've got nothing for you. I'm seeing just cups of coffee." She said, "Yes, I work in a coffee shop. I didn't know
Oh, right,
her."
yeah, I remember that. Because I didn't see, I don't know if they even showed that, did they? They did show it, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Because she spoke at the end.
But she was, that was rotten, isn't it? The first link you've got is someone that doesn't even have a connection with Diana.
Yeah, but then the spirit world knew. And as I said before, the night before, I felt Diana came to me in a dream, and I felt her kiss me on the cheek. And I thought, perhaps it's my imagination. And I saw all these white roses. When I actually went in just before we were going to link up to Spirit World, they had the most beautiful white roses all around.
Oh, yeah,
because white roses mean peace, of course.
Yeah.
And it would have been her favourite flower.
Oh, that was interesting. Yeah, there was so many coincidences. All this, I forget them now because it's a while ago. But at the time, it was like it's like the energy was building.
It's
wasn't
like
it?
going
It's like building.
Well, it's like going in her shoes.
Yeah, I mean, going into that Dodi's flat was. Weird that was really, because the place was kept like a mausoleum.
Well,
they had Arabic sort of chants going on all the way through. I know
it's just as hard for him.
Top Mayfair flat just as a mausoleum. Not a thing had been moved from the moment that he'd left. That Dodi had left. Poor Al-Fayed.
Did you get the lovely picture of Diana?
Yeah. poor Al-Fayed, I mean, you could just see the grief there. I mean, what do you think about the backlash we got from it? Because we did, didn't we? Really?
Well, what I found very distressing was my youngest daughter at that time. Mothers were going up and attacking her, saying, "Mother, father shouldn't do this," and she turned around and said, "I have you know, my mother and father are very good people, and my mother and father helped an awful lot of people, and you know nothing about it. Mind your own business."
The thing that I hated most about it is that the biggest accusation they made about to us was saying, "Oh, these guys are just in it for the money."
Didn't have any money.
And we gave it all away. We gave it all to the church. I said, "We don't want a fee. Give it to the charities."
That's what you're meant to do. If you're a highly spiritual person and you're doing God's work like this, you're meant to help others less fortunate. That's why we set up a foundation.
Yeah. And my feeling was that Diana liked what we were doing because she was a mischievous spirit. I felt almost as if we had to coax her to do this. It was like my inner feeling was, look, come on, Diana, please talk to us. I can't just stand here and say sorry, because
funny you said that, because Danielle was, because Danielle was very gothic. She was saying, "Please, Princess Diana, you know you love children. Please come through to my mother and my father. Do it for the children of this world." And I thought, that's so sweet.
Well, because if she hadn't come through, I wasn't going to stand there and say I'd make anything up. I'm going to say,
don't forget.
Say no, sorry, can't get it. There's your show.
Well, it's like
pressure.
It was pressure, but we know that the spirit world is real. We wouldn't do these things if we weren't 100%. We're very truthful people, got integrity, and most importantly, got love, just like Diana had love to reach out to people.
Yeah, so I'm grateful to her, because I really believe we had a proper contact there, and she could have not come through. And my feeling was, just to conclude it now really, my feeling was that her message really was to her boys, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
Don't you think?
And what lovely boys they are and turned out to be.
Yeah, didn't they? And she would be proud of them, wouldn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
But obviously,
and don't forget, she was obviously looking down from the spirit world on her grandchildren too.
Yeah. If she'd have lived, what would she have been like now? What an amazing woman. She put her seatbelt on, for example. She might have lived, she might have survived, but what if she survived as she was disabled? She might have been disabled. I mean, what things would she have done, well, even then?
Do you know what struck me? Like Marilyn Monroe, I think, died in her 30s. Princess Diana did, and she was a legend. And it's all like these young people, Jane Mansfield, James Dean,
Elvis.
Well, Elvis wasn't that young when he died.
To me.
Giving your age away. But
Kurt Cobain.
Well, yeah, it struck me that, all these people have done work in their own way down here. Like Princess Diana, I mean, she helped the Red Cross, she had the love for children. So she put all her grief and her energy into loving the world.
Yeah, well,
really was the queen of arts.
She really was an amazing woman. And anyway, I wanted to talk to you about it because people are quite interested. So, as far as we're concerned, we don't feel MI5 didn't do anything. There was no conspiracy to kill her.
Nothing to do.
People are going to hate us for this because they all think that there's more to it than all that. Because it's hard to believe there wasn't, because so much was going on.
Yes, but the people around that table that day that personally knew her, what would the royal family from it? What would they gain from it?
Anyway, we better leave it there. That sounds all right. I hope people like that. Interesting talk.
Like we did. We were doing it.
See you later. Jane and I now do our spiritual work for our foundation. All the profits that come from things like our conferences and theatres and workshops and all those exciting things now go into this foundation, which ultimately has the long-term plan of building centres in the UK and maybe around the world one day. But meanwhile, we've been doing a lot of direct spiritual work with it. We've been going out, feeding people in India, giving to the destitute, giving to beggars. We've helped feed schools, helped orphanages, and we've even given cows to older people that have no other form of income. So mediumship can change your life, but it can also help people directly in the world. So go to the links at the end and find out all about what Jane and I are trying to do. And you can do a lot just by sharing these videos on social media. Help us get the word out. Help us to do something really good in this world. Click on this picture of me to subscribe to our channel and see all of our latest videos as soon as they're published. Or click on this next video for more of our stuff.